Whew. Oh, what to say? What to say? Well, today I'm going to be sharing some of my sketchiest moments I've ever had on the trail. In my lifetime, I've hiked over 8,000 miles. I through hiked the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, and the Continental Divide Trail. And through that time, I've had a lot of crazy experiences. So today I'm going to share some of my experiences with you that I've had, and maybe we can learn some lessons along the way. So let's start it out. I'm going to share the top 10 experiences I've ever had. So. Number 10. Well, I was on the CDT in the Great Basin in Wyoming, and I was out in the desert. There was no trees, or it was only bushes, tiny little bushes called sage bushes. They literally littered the whole entire Great Basin. It's just a bunch of little bushes. But anyway, I was hiking, and there was this giant storm. It was a giant rainstorm. There was just hail and lightning everywhere, and I was getting rained on and hailed on, and lightning was around me. That was crazy, and I was just praying to God that I was saying, "Okay, Lord, you had to protect me through this." I just trusted Jesus; He'll protect me. So I made it through the storm, and there was lightning all around me. It was hailing down on me, hitting me all over the place, and it was nerve-wracking, but I just trusted God, and He protected me. So number 9, here we go. Number 9, I was. Oh yeah, that's right. Number 9, I was on the PCT, and I'm trying to remember what. I think I was in Northern California. That's what it was, and it was probably about 8 or 9 o'clock at night, and I was getting ready to go to bed. I was literally in my tent, and then I heard these giant footsteps coming towards me, and outside my tent, and I could hear this giant creature's nose breathing and his giant hooves. I've learned later, a couple minutes later, it was a giant elk, and it was really angry because it was running around the whole entire surrounding area, breaking branches and um, breaking down branches and just running through the forest, like destroying a bunch of stuff. It must have been mad that I was in its area or something, but thankfully it didn't hurt me or attack my tent, but it definitely seemed to be upset that I was in its area. But that was a crazy experience. uh, it literally was doing that for like an hour and a half, and it didn't stop. It was nonstop for like an hour, at least an hour long. It was crazy. I had a little pocket knife on me. I was like, I don't think it was gonna do much, but if I had to use it, I would have tried to use that. Okay, number 8. Uh, I was on the Appalachian Trail. That's right. I was on the Appalachian Trail. I think it was in Pennsylvania. That's the state with tons of rocks and rattlesnakes everywhere. So I was just going down the trail. I had some music on my phone, and then on to the left, out to the left of my trail, there was literally a rattlesnake like 2 feet away from me, and it was literally ready to strike. And I screamed, like involuntarily. I just screamed, and I didn't know what to do, but I just like fell backwards, and that was scary. I'm thankful it didn't bite me. That was nerve-wracking. My heart was beating so loud. Uh, I just I know I wouldn't be able to make it through all these situations without God. He has protected me throughout all these experiences. Let's go to number 7 is next. This one, I was on the PCT. I'm trying to remember what state I was in. I think this was this was in California as well. I think this was Southern California, if I remember right. It was in a desert area. There was no trees around or anything, and I was going up this mountain, and going up this mountain It was just like it dry everywhere, and I'm about to the top, and I just there was no one around me. It was crazy. I was just gonna take a break for like 5 or 10 minutes, and right as I was about to sit down, there's like literally a rattlesnake like 2 feet from where I was about to sit down. I almost sat right on top of a rattlesnake. And then when I saw that, I was like, I'm not tired anymore. It's like got up and just kept hiking on. My heart was beating pretty fast after that. I was like, I'm not tired anymore, so I hiked a few more miles before I stopped after that, just to take a break. Let's go. Number 6 next. I was on the Pacific Crest Trail with this one as well. This one I was up in like either I think it was I think I was up in Washington for this one. I was pretty close to the border. I was probably like a couple hundred miles away from the Canadian border. Anyway, I had some music on, and oh, I was in there was the area I was in. There was tons of tall trees, these gigantic trees, and there was this fallen over tree. It was literally like as tall as me. That's how tall the fallen down tree was. And right as I come around the corner of this other fallen down tree, I I see a bear and his cub and her cub right there. So I run back around the corner of the tree quickly, and then thankfully the bear didn't see me, but it definitely sensed I was there because it stood up on its back legs, and it was looking around all over the place for me. And after that, it ran off into the woods with its cub, but thankfully it didn't see me because that was nerve wracking. That was I remember that experience really well. I was My heart was beating pretty quick after that. I was hiding behind that tree. I'm thankful it didn't come attack me. Once again, I know God protected me in that situation. Here, let's another. We're going to number 5 now. Oh, yep. This is on the CDT, the Continental Divide Trail. I was in Glacier National Park. I was in Glacier National Park, and I was in trying to think exactly where it was. I was in the northern part of the park anyway. But I had my food. It was in the morning. It was in the morning, probably like 6 a.m. Had my food hanging in a tree, and I was going to get my food bag, and I was just walking down the trail going to get my bag, and I just see something on the peripheral of my vision onto the right side, and I look over, and it's just a gigantic moose sitting on the ground. It was literally like less than 10 feet away from me. I could literally look in its eyeball. That's how I had my headlamp on. I could literally look in its eyeball and I could literally see it in its eyeball. It was crazy. It didn't get up and attack me, thankfully. And I owe it all to God to protect me, because I know I would not have made it through all these situations without him. Because he literally that was crazy. He was literally like a couple arms lengths away from me. I just was like, okay. I just stayed calm and just kept walking on. And thankfully he didn't come after me. So, but okay. So let's go on to the next one. I was on number 4 here. Where's number 4? There it is. Oh, yep. CAT. I was on the Continental Divide Trail, Lake and Pass. I was in Colorado. It's like about a 13,000 foot pass in Colorado. It was right before Twin Lakes in Colorado, and Lake and Pass. Yeah, that's crazy. I was had to hike up this thing, 13,000 feet. The trail was very steep going up, but once I made it to the top, there was it was fully snow on top, and the other side was all snow too. There was no trail on the other side. It was literally just all snow everywhere. And then when I made the top, I was looking around how to get down, and I noticed slide marks
Biggest
on
slide
the path.
I've ever seen in my
So you
life.
had to slide down that thing. It was literally like 500 feet to slide down, and I saw someone right in the snow slide here with the arrow pointing, and I just see a bunch of slide marks going down. That was nerve wracking. First, so I put all my rain gear on, and um, I secured everything in my pack. I got everything, made sure everything was secure in my pack, and it was crazy. And I got my my ice axe. But the way I had I had a unique ice axe. Mine was built into my hiking stick. I made my own hiking stick, and I had like an ice axe built into it. And so my ice axe was like this long. I was like had to sit it into the snow like this, and then I had my micro spikes on stuck dug into the ground like that. So I was sliding down and then sliding down. It was literally like a 500-foot slide. It was insane. I wish I could have got it on film. I have the film of the top of the mountain, but I didn't get to film it on the way out because I was scared my phone would get ruined or something. So I didn't film it. But that was insane. And that was my heart was beating so fast once I went down that thing. That was insane. I'm really happy I made it down that thing. That was once I got down the top bottom, I was like felt like I could accomplish anything. That was it was like a straight down drop. It was not just like some little slide. It was straight down, and it was insane. Oh man, that just brings me back. Just thinking about it, I can just picture it right in my mind right now. So I'll head on to the next one. Oh, yep. This number 3. This is on the Continental Divide Trail. I was up in Yellowstone National Park. Well, the story was I was just in town that day, resupplying, and I made it back to like the trailhead, and I was probably had like a 15-mile hike to get to my campsite, to the camp, like wherever, because you have to have like permits and stuff for Yellowstone. So I had to like hike 15 miles, but soon after I got to the trailhead, it was like pouring down rain the whole entire time, and that was not some light rain. That was some freezing cold rain. And I remember it was probably like 3 hours into just probably about 3 hours into hiking in that freezing cold rain, and my body was started getting freezing cold. I remember, and and I was just I was just trusting God that whole time. I was just reciting verses in my head. I was saying, I can do all things through Christ gives me strength. I just kept saying all these things just to help me get through those experiences. I kept saying, it's only temporary, it's only temporary, it's only temporary. And I just kept speaking words of strength to myself to make it through those hard times, because I can do all things through He gives me strength. You just got to keep speaking those. I just keep speaking those things to myself, and He helped me make it through. But I was raining down so much that I finally found like a tree I could sit underneath that was kind of protected from the rain. And then I sat there for like 15 or 20 minutes, and my body started shivering more and more. Like my body was like, felt like I was getting to hypothermia stages. So I just found a spot right close by there where I could set up my tent. I was right next to a lake. Um, and, and I set my tent up, and everything was soaking wet except like, but my sleeping bag, I was thankful my sleeping bag was pretty dry because I had my rain cover on my pack and stuff, and that's the most important thing. You need to have your sleeping bag dry when you're out there, because if that thing gets wet, you're in a big trouble. If you're like if it's cold out, you're in big trouble. That's number one key to keep important, is just keep your sleeping bag dry. But thankfully, I I had enough dry clothes I could change into, um, and just keep warm, because it was like raining most of the night too. So that was a scary experience. I thought I might actually get hypothermia, because I even in the morning I still felt cold by the next morning, and everything. I was By the next morning I was like considering going back to town. But I ended up just hiking on and just trusting God He protect me, and I just wore my rain gear and stuff, and I just hiked hard on that day just to stay warm and warm up. But thankfully, the next day didn't really rain much, so I was thankful for that. But soon after that, I think I remember got to go see Old Faithful and stuff like that, and I got to yeah, I got to have a buffet there and stuff, and I've had a lot of hard experiences on the trail, but those experiences really make you stronger in the end, because we're never promised an easy life in in this life, you know. But those hard times really strengthen you and show you how to overcome in life, you know. Okay, I'll move on to the next one. This is on the CDT as well. This one was really scary. I was also in Glacier National Park with this one. I was walking the highway. I was only like a couple days left on the CDT to the finish. Um, you had to work around the permit system and stuff, so I had to hike like I think I had to hike 25 miles that day to make it to where I needed to camp. But I was just walking the highway, and it was in the morning. It was probably like 9 a.m. and I just hear something rustling. It was like there was like a lake over to the left, and it was kind of a drop down. And I look over my left, and I see a little grizzly bear sitting right there, like playing with its like licking itself and stuff. And I was like, oh man, this is like the worst possible outcome. This is like the worst possible situation you could be in right now. So I literally just stayed calm and just walked and hiked as fast as I possibly could on the highway without freaking out or anything. Just kept walking and hiking as fast as I could. And then literally like 20 seconds later, I turn around and I see this giant family of grizzly bears walking across the highway. It was like the biggest grizzly bear, mama grizzly bear I've ever seen. It was gigantic. And there was probably like 4 grizzly babies. And I know God protected me in that situation. That's like one of the most dangerous situations you can possibly be in. I know God kept that grizzly bear away from me, just like God kept the lions away from Daniel in the Bible. And I know He protected me there. Well, I finally made it to the #1 top spot. This this didn't happen from a four-legged creature, but it actually happened from a two-legged creature. uh, this happened on the Appalachian Trail. Uh, well, I was just coming down. I was just walking down the trail, and then I finally made it to this dirt road. And over to the right here, I see there's a truck that I was driving, and then I crossed onto the dirt road, and the truck saw me, and it started backing up towards me. And I walked back on the trail, and and I heard another truck coming up the road, and I heard it coming up the road pretty fast. So I ran across the road, and then the truck was like vroom, like right over the mountain up the hill, and they like saw me, and then at this point I was running, and people got out of those they were like hillbillies or rednecks or something. They got out of their truck, and they started chasing me, and I was running as fast as I possibly could. I was running up that mountain. I was running up the all the way up that trail. That was like there was about 3 or 4 people, and the last thing I heard from them says, get your guns," and I heard them say that, and I was just running in that trail as fast as I could. My heart was pounding on my chest. I was terrified. I literally ran down that trail for probably about 2 miles before stopping. I'm thankful I was in the best shape of my life at that point. I was like sprinting down that trail with my pack on and everything. Thankfully, those people never caught me, but I think they were going to try to kidnap me or something. But they were literally chasing me down that trail, and I was running as fast as I possibly could. And oh man, that was scary. I just remember in my mind just clear as yesterday. But yeah, that was that was the scariest situation I've ever had on the trail. But majority of things that have happened on the trail, there are always good things. But that was the scariest thing that's ever happened to me. That was terrifying. But I'm thankful that God pulled me through that situation as well. Most of the time I've in the trail, I've always felt 100% safe, but you still gotta be cautious out there. Just stay safe, you know. Be cautious. Like, gotta stay prepared. You gotta be prepared for every situation. If you're long distance hiking, you gotta be prepared for every situation as much as you possibly can. Because well, I've had so much kindness along the way. It's amazing how much kindness you can receive from other strangers. I want to make it through those trails without the kindness of all those strangers, like by hitchhiking or trail angels giving me lots of food or something, or place to stay, or rides to the trail, or rides to a grocery store. People help me with so much along the way, but just gotta be cautious. And I just wanted to start this channel to share some experiences I've had along the trail, and maybe the experiences I share can help someone else out there in their lives, and hopefully these videos help you, because I'm going to share some videos of my experiences, and hopefully they help someone out there. So that's all I wanted to share today. So thanks for listening.